Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary to share another contemplative focus with you today. And the focus I wanted to share with you today is the ego cannot know our true reality. We're all participating in what we call the creation game. It's a conscious creation that we have all agreed to play pretending to be what we are not. We're pretending to not be the pure, blissful consciousness that we are. Our identification with the ego is the continuous challenge that we are here to overcome. It's our identification that we have with the ego that prevents us from having the experience of being pure consciousness. Because as long as we are identified with the ego and it's our dominant identification, which it is, we go to that, huh? Our awareness is imbalanced when we first come into this world to the negative dominant polarity, which is the polarity of contraction, where the pure blissful consciousness that we are has been condensed and solidified, you might say. It's where we create matter. In other words, this body, all bodies, everything in your world that's physical, is nothing but condensed energy, and the energy that is using to create the form is the same energy that you and I are. That's our true reality, and by that I mean that it is the reality that we were before we took this birth, and it will be the reality that we will experience when we are through with our current life. Huh? So there really is no such thing as death as people imagine it. It's like we're not somebody that has a soul. We are the soul. We are pure blissful consciousness, and we can never be anything else. So as we evolve lifetime after lifetime, pretending to not be who we truly are, eventually we reach a point in our evolution and in our experience where we question this, and then we begin to be drawn towards meditation. And this is when, in our lifetime, a teacher will show up, usually, and you'll engage in the practice of meditation, which is simply a balancing technique. It's not a belief system. It's not where you believe that you're consciousness. It's where you can create enough balance in yourself so that the default negative polarity is no longer dominant in your experience. And when you reach that point of equilibrium, then you'll begin to have many experiences where you'll actually have a taste of who you truly are. The aha moments where you're blissful and you're filled with joy. Huh? You are actually being totally satisfied with the truth of who you are, and you're experiencing that which nothing in this world can give you. You know, you can go to a good movie, you can do anything, you can have sex, whatever you want, drugs, but they never give you what you really want. And that's to just simply be yourself in a truthful manner. We're missing that. We don't know we're missing that until we have an experience that tells us, oh, there's more to me than I ever imagined. And once you have that experience, you'll never want another one. You want to get back to that experience. You'll want to have that as a constant in your experience. And this demands that you live a holistic lifestyle, which is a lifestyle of meditation and living, where you eat decent foods, healthy foods, and you exercise every day. You're trying to create balance throughout your whole creation in the body, in your mind, and in your emotions. You want the positive polarity to become the dominant polarity. And that takes practice, and it takes uh, commitment. I would say commitment is the biggest factor in this, because I know that in my journey, there were times when I was meditating constantly every day, and there were times when I wasn't meditating every day, and times when I took a hiatus from meditation. I didn't understand what we call the fivefold process, where these new experiences happen, and then once you have those experiences, in order for that experience to establish itself, any data that you hold that's contrary to that experience has to be let go of. You have to get rid of it. You're cleaning up your basement, shall we say. The unconscious data where you believe that you are just a human being and you're limited it to a lifetime and then you're going to die and on and on and on. But that's not really true, and your experiences holistic will tell you that that's not true. So you go through a process of releasing and integration. You get rid of the old data and then you integrate the new. And if you're not aware of that process, you can oftentimes think, my meditation's not working. I feel like crap today. I'm hating people, and this is not how it should be. But actually, that's a very good sign. It means that whatever you're doing is really working because you're you're experiencing that fivefold process. But if you don't know what that is, if you've never been taught about this as a normal part of your progressive evolution towards your true nature of being blissful consciousness, then it can be very confusing. It confused me a lot of times. I would meditate and then I would finish my meditation. I would be very blissful and happy, and I would go out, maybe have a cup of coffee or whatever, and 10 minutes later, I might start feeling the opposite. Or later in the day, I might feel opposite. And I thought, well, what's wrong here? It's like I should be happy, I should be blissful. But it takes a lot of time. Well, I'm saying it does, but it may not be true for you. But it does take time and commitment and practice to develop balance, what we call balance in terms of the polarized field of experience, which is where we are right now. This is the theater of the creation game, the polarities. You have a dominant negative, you have the positive, and you're trying to move yourself to the positive so that you can experience something much greater and better than the negative. And in that pursuit, the more you understand the process of getting there, the more you can go through what you have to go through to get there. And there was times when I was meditating back in the 70s and the early 80s where I had no idea what was going on until I joined the recognitions program for synchronicity, where everything changed radically for me because there I had someone that could teach me the mechanics of what I was doing. There was no judgment involved. There was simply the mechanics of it and what you had to go through and how to go through it in terms of maintaining your practice and maintaining your balance without nullifying it with some self-doubt and thinking that you're wrong and nothing's working. So I had meditated with other systems prior to synchronicity, and some of them were, I must say, a little bit judgmental about what your experience was and what it should be and so forth and so on. And I was not drawn to stay with such those kind of practices with the people who were behind it, because if you're feeling like you're not worthy, it's almost like a religious thing instead of a holistic thing. And to me, that was I just didn't want it. I went through religious experience when I was growing up, and unbeknownst to me as to why, I rebelled all the time. I never liked religion. There was something about it just didn't sit right with me, and I was aware of this very early in my, in grade school, probably about the second or third grade. I think I had a conscious rebellion silently because I was too smart to say it out loud. I was in a Catholic school, and I just could not accept what I was hearing in terms of God sending us to damnation if we weren't Catholic. That was back in the old days. And that just didn't sit with me at all. But I knew there was something going on. I didn't know what it was, but that was simply where what we call where my feet are. I was evolved to the point where I was ready for the experience I'm having here today, having this chat with you online about this contemplative focus. After years and years and years of being with synchronicity and meditating and living a holistic lifestyle, I've developed enough balance to where I experience my truth 24/7. Now, it may not be fully that way. It certainly was not, I'm not evolved as much as my teacher was. And there's more to come. Let's put it that way, huh? But that's just the way it is. It's a process that takes, well, I don't really care how much time it takes because time is just part of the illusion that we have here as humans, that we experience it because we have created time in terms of motion and things happening. You know, the experiences that are happening that we witness, we have a context of time. This happened before that, and so forth and so on. But in truth, there is only one blissful moment that we are always in. And if we can get into that moment and stay in that moment, we're there. And time has no impact on us in terms of, it will on the body because the body is part of the illusion, but it won't have that on us. And the more we are connected with our truthful reality, the more we will look forward to the day when we can drop these bodies, and that, especially in the aging process and so forth and so on, and the craziness that's going on today in the world. Who wants to stay here, and who wants to go through more of this? And indeed, we are entering into a new chapter in terms of collective consciousness evolving itself, and those, excuse me, those who are not ready for a more truthful experience will leave, and those who are will remain. It's as simple as that. And it's not bad, it's not good, it's the way that consciousness is evolving itself to be itself and to be aware of itself through the forms that it has created, that we have created. So that's really it. We're playing the game that we agreed to play, and we're not so agreeable sometimes while we're having these experiences, but that's all right. That's just our nature as human to complain and to suffer. We do suffer, and we get used to suffering to the point where we think that's normal. And after a while, as a meditator, you learn that that's really not normal. That's at least not in the heart. You know, your body might suffer when you get old. Can't help that sometimes. It's just part of life. But to suffer in terms of mental agony or anxiety or worry, those kind of sufferings, or emotionally to hold on to anger or to hold on to hate or hold on to any negative emotion in relation to someone or some event or whatever, that's not normal. That's an unconscious habit. And we all grow into these habits as through our younger years, not knowing what we're doing, and maybe we carry some over from our previous lifetime as well. And as we evolve consciously through meditation and holistic lifestyle, we let go of these things when they come up to our awareness because we know what they are and we know what they're doing, and we don't have any use for that anymore. We don't have the identification with it. And that's the identification with the ego that we're looking at here. And as we give up this identity and that identity in terms of an emotion or a thought or a belief, whatever, we get farther and farther away from our ego as our dominant experience, and we get more and more holistic in our experience. And then flowing with life is much easier, and we don't care about the end of it or how it will end or when it will end. We just try to evolve as best we can while we are here, while we can do this. And so while we can play the game consciously, That's the way to put that. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I thank you all for watching. I'll probably be here next week, next Monday morning, with another contemplation to share with you. But I'm not sure after that we have a program coming up, so we'll probably have to skip a couple of Mondays before we finish the program, and then I'll be back again to continue this process and this sharing. So thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you again next Monday morning, and I hope you enjoy this and you find some value in it. Thank you so much, and until next time, meditate, meditate, meditate.